What up traders, what up investors, Ken here from Dyslexic Investor, and we're going to be looking at two very successful trades here on the Wall Street Bets forum, one in Shop or Shopify, and then one in Activision Blizzard, the video gaming Candy Crush saga money boat. First and foremost, we're going to do a quick little market overview here. A lot of people asked for this. Initially looking for, again, this is recorded on the 7th of May, right after the market opened, so we're close to 9:45ish. Looking at a potential break of 28.87. I have a couple alerts out here overhead. We're seeing a lot of overhead resistance here at basically 2900, or that'd be 290 on SPY, and then some more resistance up here around 295 for SPY, around 290, 2942, 2950, because that's where the 200 exponential moving average comes in on the daily chart. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the first one. So this is the user Anti-Vin, and he went super long some calls within Shop, playing its earnings. You can see here buying the 740 call and 700 call, expiring quite a little bit further out. Basically, this is in October and November. We can look at the prices of those calls initially, and then of course his pretty amazing return. I believe he started out with, I think, 3 or 4K and turned that into nearly 135K. That's pretty fantastic there, right? So let's go ahead and jump back to the chart here. So we're going to go ahead and look at Shop. So Shop has just been on the tear without a doubt. Actually posted a pretty fairly decent quarter, popping off quite a bit here. So again, this guy bought the 700 call. So let's pull that one up here in a second. 700 call. 700 call. Let's do the 740 here. So looking here, he bought the 1016 right here. He bought the 740 call. It didn't say when, but those basically went to at the money. I believe it broke past it. We can go ahead and, nope, we don't want to buy, thank you. Let's see, we're going to send to red one and go to chart. Again, could have bought this basically at super cheap at around $1, less than $1, potentially here for the run up into earnings, and basically supersizing its overall. This is the complete explosive. You can kind of see here on 420 where it kind of took off, and then again when it reported earnings the beginning of May, it literally went on fire. Looking here basically on the full chart, we can look at the potential breakout that we saw. Doing some quick little fib analysis here, you can kind of see with the swing high to swing low, once it broke like this 100% retracement, it kind of sold off. Again, God only knows that the overall market went down. Trading sideways for a little bit, again waiting for the potential earnings play. It was still trading above the 5 and the 8 exponential moving average for a kick higher, way past the 1272 127 percentile within the fib, potentially looking for a high at 772 potentially. Again, we're kind of slowly we didn't break lower than the previous day candle, but since that huge move up, we could be trading sideways for a particular amount of time, with the overall market, the SPY and so forth, printing positive and being up well over 1%. This could potentially make the push to that 772 price target. For the downside, once it starts breaking the 5 and the 8 exponential moving average on the daily chart, this is again the sign of the momentum is shifting. If you're playing momentum stocks, this is the 5 and the 8 are your best friends. And once it starts curling over and start coming off, again, seeing potential resistance here, initially on a decline to around 672, 671, and then if that breaks, the 21 kind of comes in for support, and that's basically around 600 for you. Again, anything can happen in the market. I don't have a crystal ball. I'm just playing the chart. So potentially a move to 772, and then if it kind of could trade sideways and trade between that 772 and around 670 there. So that's quite a huge range of move. But again, this stock is a $726 stock. It has a pretty monstrous move, and again, it had a pretty large deviation move. Looking here on the chart, again on earnings, breaking well out even before earnings, had a huge monster move up, and I think a lot of people were like, oh, hold up. We saw this quite often due to the fact of a lot of other folks who had earnings. That huge move up was an indicator for a potential shortfall in earnings, and that early morning or that push before earnings was kind of negating the potential huge move. But I think on top of that, it's just been breaking out. That being said, again, we're looking at it breaking out of the 3 deviation. So usually when this happens, it usually can ride up the 3 deviation and second deviation for quite some time. But again, going back to the momentum indicators within the exponential moving averages, and then popping over here on the chart here, the RSI has not peaked out yet, so it hasn't hit that little red indicator there yet, meaning it could start trading sideways and start going lower. It's kind of flattening out. The Chaikin money flow is through the roof. Momentum is still trying to curl up for potential, again, to that swing to around $772. So that was a wonderful trade from that individual there. So that was just a monstrous trade, turning in a huge profit. Again, he must have bought those quite some ways before the market move, and just holding at basically the market low, looking around the early April here for potential double bottom here, buying around the 200 exponential moving average and just riding this huge wave up. And that was just a fantastic move for that individual. And then we have one more for you guys. We have Activision Blizzard. So this is the individual A7NW, okay? So he, not a crazy trade like 4,000%, but well-deserved trade here as well, buying multiple calls out, spreading out his risk basically among different time frames here, which is honestly somewhat of a good strategy coming from Wall Street's Bets and doing his due diligence there. Basically taking a nice chunk of change here, netting in $14,000 here. Basically his whole account value about $16,000, totaling around 26 contracts broken up on these different calls. Again, Activision Blizzard just also had earnings, so we can go ahead and look at that ATVI. Full disclosure, I do own Activision Blizzard stock. So Activision Blizzard had a fantastic quarter, blowing it out, adding a lot new folks to the platform, a lot of new gamers at home. Candy Saga was just a ATM printing press for them. A lot of cash there. That's the little mobile app. I don't know if folks knew that they own that that mobile segment as well, on top of a lot of people playing WoW or World of Warcraft, all the other various games from Overwatch to the new Call of Duty, things like that. So this has been a fantastic move for them. Kind of giving some basic fibs here. We can go from swing high to swing low. We can kind of see here, it kind of stuttered here, the initial drop here due to the pandemic, coming back up, hitting that 1 127, kind of failing, trading sideways somewhat, holding fairly strong here on the 21, looking like this potential at the end of April. We had that pretty big sell-off in SPY. It did hold the 21 for a potential push higher, and then over the next 2 or 3 days just skyrocketed, with earnings boosting it up quite a bit here, pushing into the 168. Again, there's not going to be too much. This is basically going into uncharted space here. Looking at basically, again, it's slow. It looks like it's a lot of people are just getting out and selling because this has been a huge gap up. This potentially can come back down to around $68 to kind of trade sideways potentially. That's going to be your initial first stop around $68 to $70. They could trade sideways. They could trade sideways here at $73 as well. But it doesn't have a huge push up higher for a potential to getting to 86 because a lot of the catalysts, aka the earnings, has already gone. Again, unless they come out with some news on a new World of Warcraft or Overwatch 2 release dates, things like that, that could also be a catalyst moving forth. But again, since earnings is behind us, this could just be trading sideways, kind of letting these moving averages come in to rest up. And then I wanted to do this fib here as well, so we look from here to here. Again, this also lines up with the 618, so around the $70 to the $72 to $71, I feel like this could be initial great little place for it to park at for initial push higher later this time of year. Looking at the standard deviation moves here, again, now this is on a weekly chart. We can go pump this to a daily chart. Again, puncturing well out of its 3 deviation here. Again, coming down. This is common to once it punctures out of this bubble here, the 3 deviation channel, it likes to start coming lower to potentially go to the second deviation. Again, that kind of lines up with that $70 price target we talked about, and then initially going to, if it goes lower, to 68, and then being a nice really soft, cushiony around 65. Due to the overall momentum continuing higher, it looking like it could ride up the second deviation and potentially even touch down to the 68, 69 level. That being said, want to give a big shout out to everyone who has joined the live streams. We have another live stream coming up this Sunday at 8:30 EST, that's Eastern Standard Time, PM. We're going to be talking stocks, talking some great trades. Below you'll see some resources that you can join, some charts that I shared via my Thinkorswim platform here. We have a Discord set up. Just come in, ask questions. If you're polite, you can stay, things like that. I greatly appreciate all the support I've been getting. Again, this is Ken from the Dyslexic Investor, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.